how do we relate to the alignment between our day-to-day activities and behavior and what we imagine our life's purpose to be? Our understanding of the human condition suggests that our egos toss us into a tumult between criticism and support as we assess the choices that likely felt quite organic and compelling when we made them. Let's imagine for a moment a future version of ourselves, or better yet, a future version of an individual who loves and supports us unconditionally. At the end of our life, how might they reflect upon what our life's purpose turned out to be? Let's apply this to the way that we relate to our self-assessment today. Might we grasp for a moment how impossible it might be to be out of alignment? In our general and universal overwhelm with the question of what life's purpose is, we so often confuse purpose with progress, subscribing to the illusion that they are synonymous. As we achieve what we like to call progress, we bump up against the same question again and again, as the inevitable pivot point to achievement becomes, what now to do with this progress I've made? Alan Watts endeavored to work with the question, what is life's purpose, by entertaining us, tickling our minds into opening to the eternal even for a moment, such that we might grasp that we are okay here and now. If I were to string together a mosaic paraphrasing what he left for us, I could say, life is exuberance, a celebration of itself. Become what you are. This is it. During Alan Watts' lifetime, he explored an abounding number of semantic pathways toward expressing this to us. One amongst them was an incredibly academic philosophical approach, if this, then that, opening an exquisite cognitive pathway to the metaphysical. We see this in his work, The Supreme Identity. Enjoy.
The Supreme Identity, an essay on Oriental metaphysic and the Christian religion. Page 14. It is exceedingly difficult to explain this wisdom in words that do not confuse it with theological and philosophical isms to which it bears no resemblance. Indeed, it is so hard to express it in writing at all that one who tries can only feel acutely conscious of the defects of his effort. But the tragedy of a confused, weakened, and sincerely alarmed Christian people ignoring the most essential source of spiritual power makes it necessary to try. I do not pretend to have expressed such an ultimate mystery at all adequately, nor to have solved all the many hard problems of its relation to church and society. One man in one lifetime could never cope with such a task, and I offer my work that others may improve upon it. No one should try to make any understanding of these matters his own property and achievement. Page 17. Christianity is now ineffective and uncertain because it is a hard-pressed analogy trying to stand on its own merits. It lacks the support of the metaphysical knowledge which it represents. Page 21. Liberalism must face the plain fact that if we do not know what man is for, we can neither educate him nor heal his infirmities. If you do not know what an automobile is for, it is absurd to think that you can run or repair it intelligently. Page 23. Psychologists may heal sick souls and doctors sick bodies, but insofar as they are pure scientists, they will have no idea as to what healthy souls and bodies are for. Page 24. If morality consists in doing good to one's fellow man, it is clear that morality exists for man rather than man for morality. And the problem of what man himself is for is still undecided. Page 26. Western culture seems at the moment spiritually disintegrated beyond hope of reconstruction, and perhaps the best that may be expected is that in its final collapse, it may give birth to a new culture, much as it had in its own origin in the waning classical culture of the Roman Empire. Nevertheless, the question of man's true end and of the principle of human unity remains of supreme importance, if not for this present society, for another, and if not for another, for such individuals as feel the urgent need to make sense out of existence. Page 28. Man, his institutions, his arts, his labor, is seen as a microcosm inseparably bound up with the macrocosm, an integral part of the universe in which he lives. But the constant and almost unconscious assumption of modern thought in the West, largely produced by the artificial circumstances of urban life, is that man is in some way isolated from his universe and is able to analyze and criticize it as if the resulting judgments bore no reflection on his own nature. A philosopher can assert that the universe is without any objective meaning, seemingly unaware of the fact that his very idea as part of that universe must also be without meaning. Page 29. The whole idea of innovation is repugnant to the traditional spirit, and whatever may appear to be an innovation is understood as no more than the realization of what had existed from the beginning. Things which appear to be developments are not thought of as improvements so much as variations on a theme, different and equally valid ways of manifesting a traditional principle. The essential mark of traditional societies is therefore that individuals lay no claim to anything of universal truth or application. They look upon them as eternal, and thus as things which anyone might discover at any time. Page 30. Even a slight appreciation of eternal realities causes men to live chiefly in the present, and thus to increase their power to observe and understand life as it actually lives before them. Our progress has been almost exclusively technological, which means that we are able to manipulate the physical world ever more sensationally, to increase the speed, the span, and the powers of material existence without any clear idea of what to do with the time gained and the powers acquired. Page 38. When you know that life is eternal, you will be in no hurry to crowd as many sensations as possible into 70 years, and as a result, you will appreciate sensations more keenly. It is possible that the modern experiment in the control of external nature, its brilliant success in one direction and its tragic failure in another, may serve more than any other event in human history to make men consider their true end on a scale never attained in the ancient world. The temptation to live merely as a highly complex animal and to treat the physical world as the ultimate reality and true end of life has always been present for millions of souls who lack the means to try it. It may be hoped that this magnificent trial and failure, which has affected not the West alone but the whole world, was necessary to get the temptation out of the human system, at least in some degree. Page 41. Metaphysicians of the Christian tradition, Pseudo-Dionysius, Eckhart, Albert the Great, teach essentially the same doctrine as Shankara and the Upanishads, and they in their turn the same as Chinese Taoism and the Sufis of Islam. Add to this the corroborative support of the thousands who are more strictly mystics, and we have the most impressively unanimous body of teaching in the whole world. Page 45. The eternal is timeless rather than everlasting. The infinite corresponds to the ground of man's consciousness, which, though not an object, though sizeless and formless, embraces all forms and objects. Page 46. There's no point from which knowledge of the infinite can begin, other than the infinite itself. From the start, we are in the disconcerting position of setting out to understand something which has no beginning, which cannot be approached from any ordinary, finite point of reference. This is perhaps inconvenient and confusing, but the truth remains that one cannot work up to the subject of metaphysic by easy stages. 1 million to the power of 1 million is no nearer to infinity than 1